Hello, hello, hello. Hello, Carlo. Let me just close this game and actually change to a different view. Okay, right. So, no, I don't want that. That's the wrong view. That's the view I want. There we go. The one with a picture, a video in the bottom corner. So, hello. Right, so end of month. Well, last Wednesday of every month is the main release. That's when they are scheduled to be released, the last Wednesday of every month. So the end of this month just happens to be the last day of the month too, and MAME 0.230 has been released. And the focus of this video isn't necessarily the release, but I'm going to start by talking about it because it happened today. And that kind of makes sense. I mean, if you read the brief summary that they've got up there, it mentions, there's some TV games added, the sound emulation improvements and everything else. I'm just going to bring up the what's new and have a little bit of talk about that. So if I pick up some highlights here, the Mega Drive emulation, the EEPROM support was added for several cartridges and various little tidy-ups. Ryan was doing that. So games like Wonder Boy Monster World save, the Sonic and Knuckles locked on to Sonic 3 now saves. They're just general improvements that probably should have been done before, but kind of nobody got around to them. Some of the Micro Machines games, I think, too, they saved. So that's always good. Some dip switch fixes, the Cabal fix, where the coins wouldn't work with demo sound because the sound CPU wasn't booting early enough. And then we've got fixes that come from Aaron's sound improvements, for example, the Micro Machines, horns and things like that I demonstrated earlier. Again, Batman on the Mega Drive sound improved, Sly Spy Boulder Dash Arcade sound was improved, the V-Shoot fix I talked about before. Gangrel, there was a new main release today, say last Wednesday of every month. Robocop Arcade sounds were fixed, improved. That's just some miscellaneous description improvements. Again, sound improvements for Bad Dudes. Inferno Williams game DAC was improved. Fix for the Surf Planet and Speed sound crackling that was introduced. Some dip switch improvements for other things. Where are we going? So shifted display and speed up 2. The fix I made for Riot also fixed some issues in Jinkun. I don't know what the full name of it, but it's one of the Tecmo Systems existing games that had also regressed a little bit. I tend to, if I know something big's changed main fan, I'll just do it in a new folder. The VGFX stuff, make sure you do use the update folder and everything else, otherwise you'll just end up with bad settings. I don't know, otherwise. Anyway, let's just have a look at the the list of actual new working machines then. We've got a fourth computer. In the handheld games, we've got Electronic Mastermind. Again, this one's from Invicta. I don't know which one that is. We've got Mattel's Football 2, and the Mattel football games, American football games, are kind of famous. There's the Invicta Supersonic Electronic Mastermind. That's a bit of a mouthful. The Kmart Duncan Sunk. These are all like handheld electronic games. So I know those are quite popular. These aren't like big Game and Watch level ones. These are simpler ones, usually with a text display or some simple elements. But they're always good to see emulated. And say Hap's been working on a lot of those with Sean Riddle, dumping and decapping them. Hey T Lannis, how you doing? Thank you for joining. More Mattel stuff, Brain Baffler, Horoscope Computer, World Championship Football, and then we come on to some of the stuff that I've helped out a little bit with. The MSI Bandai Namco thing from 3-in-1, which is just as bad as any other MSI thing. It's got a few games on that have been quite badly hacked up with silly glitches that shouldn't be there. For example, there's a Dig Dug 2 on it with a corrupt live counter, and it does that on hardware. I don't know. Then you've got the NSI, not MSI, / Mammoth Toys TV board game series, which I put videos up on my channel, and there's 5 of those units, although the some of them contain duplicate games, but they generally run okay. There's some sound emulation issues, but the sound is awful anyway. It'd kind of be nice if somebody came along and knew a bit more about sound emulation and improved those. But yeah, that lot's there. I'm not going to play those on stream. You can look at the videos I've got up. So again, more electronic games. This Taiki Spanish telephone plug and play thing that Claw Grip sent and had dumped. That's the one that the strange, or the slightly creepy voice clip of "You did a good job" comes from. I think that runs. It's got a telephone keypad. A Tiger LED game, Sub Wars, Tribe 1. I guess that's another handheld game of some sort. And the two VTech Dora units, the Adventure Globe and Explorer Phone. Yeah, those are the very same TV board games with Windows XP sounds. I don't know about Nemesis sound. And hey, Red Hot Mackay and no, Carlo, I don't know about Nemesis sound. I don't know if anybody's looking at it. Now, new working clones. I'm going to skip past that initially because I think it makes more sense to look at the machines prior to working first. And there are some big ones in this release. You've got the Beatmania 2 DX and Beatmania 3 games that Jennifer and Windy Fairy were working on. Jennifer also goes by Dragon Minded, I believe, and Windy Fairy goes by a lot of numbers that I don't know, and I can't remember off the top of my head. But there's if you look for the GitHub commit messages, there'll probably be a lot of numbers instead of the name Windy Fairy. Keyboard Mania as well, Power Dancing, Power Paradise. Again, say this was quite a big update for the Konami music games in this release. Do I know a word that doesn't begin with M? No, that's an M. No. Are we talking to Thomas here? Mellow greetings and merry MAME Day. Yes. Thank you, MAME fan. I mean, there's a lot that's gone into this release. It's obviously a lot of people's contributions. I mean, I don't think mine are the biggest contributions in this release because I would say these Konami music games probably what are going to grab people's interest, but I can't really play those on stream because Konami music, YouTube copyright strikes, you know how it is. Then we've got Untouchable, one of the JPM Fruit Machines non-video that I helped out a little bit with. It's sort of themed around the whole gangster stuff, obviously 1920s and all that. It runs with internal artwork. It's playable. Clones promoted to working. Some big book again. Fruit Machines. Let's have a look. New working clones. Yeah, it's pretty much the same stuff, isn't it? This Audio Fight's an interesting one because that one I played Blood Warrior on the stream before, an Audio Fight I think, and the set we have, the Japanese set, does allow you to turn blood on. This one, the blood options are completely missing, so it's an entirely censored set. There was the Raiders 5 set that I think it's got, I seem to remember it's got quite odd flip screen behaviour or something. But yeah, there's a fair bit up there. But you know, there's software list entries added, new not working stuff. Say some of the Leapfrog units, the Turbo Twist units were dumped. I'm probably not going to make working on those a priority, but because it's a CPU, one of the old Intel CPUs, I don't understand too well. But yeah, there are so many Fruit Machines to do as well for everyone. You know, every one that you see done, there's still another 10 that haven't been. And yes, Pedro, you have my blessing, and this main release has my blessing too. It seems to be a good one. There's been a lot of improvements. I mean, if you've caught my streams, then you'll have seen things like the Stratovox voice improvements as well. They're in this one. The mechanized attack fix didn't make it because it was submitted too late, but a lot of the other ones that I've submitted did. The Mazin Wars dip switch fixes in there, so you know that annoyed me slightly on stream when they were wrong. So there's lots of fixes gone into this one. So you've got all the Apple software list stuff that's been added for the console computers. You've got some eCarrier cartridges that were added, although they don't quite work properly. I think they need serial EEPROM hookups correcting in them. Some other cartridges for non-working systems, some Zippity cartridges, the educational system. Well, that's a modernish ARM-based thing that's going to need work. But yeah, there's these Pocket Challenge things, which is a bit like a WonderSwan, but with very different software. Again, these don't work. These are just there for... I don't think they work anyway. It says not working. I've not tried to run them. But yeah, you've got your list of pull requests accepted here. Now, this is probably one lots of people are focusing on. They hype in the Neo 64 improvements. Things like Road Edge now look a lot better. The car renders for the... in fact, I might put that one on in a bit, even though it's not an M game. But the kind of... I wanted to talk about the main release, but I still want to make this one of the M game streams. So I need to work out how I'm going to balance that about. I don't think it's YouTube's fault for the censorship. They just have to, you know, comply with things, and if they're getting complaints, they have to deal with it. You know, if the media companies are saying, "Oh yeah, we want money, we want this, we want that," if YouTube don't comply, Google don't comply, then it'll be Google that end up in court. Or you know, if Google don't take them down, it'll be us that end up in court because you know. It's quite bad, but that's just the way it is. Oh yeah, the Gundam mobile suit Gundam final shooting sound fixes in there too. Again, I covered that on stream. There's plenty of stuff in here. It's a good solid release, and say so. At least I think it is. I mean, I've been testing what's been going in over the last month with these streams. And it seems to generally be an improvement. I know there were some floppy improvements or a few bugs that crept in at the last minute. There have been a lot of Apple II related fixes as well, if you like the Apple II. So yeah, I mean, I've not really played any Apple II stuff on the streams because I'm not familiar enough with it. But anyway, so I've had spent about 10 minutes talking about the release. I think I probably covered the release now. So shall we get to an actual game? Shall we go with the game that I had up when I started the streaming? And that was Marine Boy. So that's my discussion of the release done now. So I'm just going to be playing M games now. And yeah, I'm going to start with Marine Boy, which is an Orca game from 1982, as you can see on the title screen here. Coin it up. Sort of classic tunes, and it's an underwater scuba divery. One with some the mermaids are good. Don't punch the mermaids. Do punch the sharks. Let's always punch sharks and collect mermaids, and you'll be good. Apparently punch dolphins and snakes with sunglasses on. Oh, Easter's not been cancelled. I mean, I don't think Easter's been cancelled. It can still happen. Just has to be a slightly more muted affair than in many years. No going to the park and starting fights or anything like that. Or, you know, as soon as things are looking slightly better. And there you go, there's a mermaid at the bottom. So there you go. And there's no animation on the clamshell to suggest anything dodgy was going on there. No. I don't know. I mean, the occasional crucifixion's fine, isn't it? I mean, it's sort of tradition. And I always seem to come back from it. So, you know, I wouldn't have been too worried anyway, even if, you know, the whole thing had been going through. But I don't think Easter's necessarily cancelled. So I think all is good. How about you, Pedro? How are you doing? I got killed by the underwater snake with sunglasses on. Enter my name. No. BCCC. That's my name. BC. For myself, if you are still calling me Jesus. So, yeah. Let's just get to the bottom as quickly as possible. I don't want any of the other mermaids, I just want the one at the bottom. But there's only one mermaid for me, and she's down here. So I don't know what I think of Marine Boy by Orca. Oh, there we go. I think, yeah, I think we're doing a little bit better here than a lot of Europe at the moment, which is surprising considering how badly the whole thing's been managed. But I got what should be my vaccination invite earlier, although since my main phone is not a smartphone, because I don't like smartphones, it doesn't open properly on it. So I'm going to have to phone the surgery, the GP, and book it the manual way, I think. But we'll see. I don't know yet. But, yeah, I'm sure things will get better everywhere else. I'd say within the next 6 months it should be looking a lot better. Although I think that's going to be a lot of summer cut out, isn't it? Which is a shame. Because summer's... You know, without summer it's very easy to get into cycles of depression, isn't it? You know, you want to be out there when it's a bit nice. You want to be socialising with people. You don't want to be stuck in for another year. But we might be. Oh, those are very difficult to see. I guess it... Don't know what it was. Looked like seaweed, but... Okay. They don't kill you, so I guess it's not too bad that they're difficult to see, but they do stun you. Yeah. Anyway, let's play another coin of Marine Boy, and then I'll move on to another game. Again, there aren't many great end games left. You know, I've covered most of them in these streams, and I just wanted to sort of do one or two of the remaining ones that I kind of like, or have some trivia about. This one, I just kind of like. It's a nice, relaxed, classic game from the 80s. There's not really much to say about it. I mean, Orca didn't... I mean, Orca... Weren't Orca related to Toei? I seem to remember something like that. Crux and Orca eventually became Toei or something. I can't remember the story. Hey Lindsay, how you doing? Don't come a rocking when the clamshell... Don't come a knocking when the clamshell is a rocking. That is true, although the clamshell does not rock. Maybe he couldn't get the diving suit off, or, you know, got to the bottom and realised it's probably not a good idea. Yeah. Oh, I'm not doing very well this time. Yeah, I mean, there are advantages to it. I mean, I've probably spent a lot more time doing main work and doing these streams rather than sort of going out at the weekend or seeing friends at the weekend. So it's been more productive in that sense, although I've also found it to be a very poor work environment because I'm sort of used to having my own space to work, you know, not sort of have free roam of the place when I'm working, and not have to remember that there's other people here trying to work and have to keep the volume down, have to do this. So it's been okay for hobby stuff. It's been not great for trying to actually get serious work done. Oh, I didn't get to the bottom. Yeah, I mean, I've got family here, so I'm not on my own, but it's not quite the same as being able to see your friends and spend time with your friends and get things off your chest, is it? Yeah. I think things are looking up. Just have to see how things are, and this, you know, after it's all over. I mean, who's still talking to who's fallen out during the whole thing? Tried the new Xbox with MAME. I don't have the new Xbox. My brother's got a PlayStation 5, but no, I've not tried it. Yeah, I say if you're used to it, I mean, to a point, you know, I am quite used to it. But there's a point where even if you're only doing something maybe once a month, when it's been a year, and it does start to get to you a little bit, even as sort of a fairly introverted person. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, Gangrel. I mean, yeah, I'd probably hate it if I was living by myself, even more, because and you really do just have your online contract. I mean, I think the bubble rules become a bit easier. I mean, that's one of the things that was a bit tricky here. You know, everybody in the house wanted their own different bubbles, and that's not really possible. But anyway, that's this was Marine Boy. Kind of fun. but it's not amazing. Now, I don't think I've looked at this Namco one yet. This is Mach Breakers, 1995 on MB1 hardware. 4-player. I think this is a track and fieldy type one, so you might get that rhythmic mashing of the keyboard that has been discussed before. But, yes. The top. So the intro doesn't really make much sense. I guess it's something to do with their abilities. And they're Newmans, not humans, because this is human athletics, I believe. Yeah, I'm probably not going to get very far on it. It's not one I really play either, so I just wanted to demonstrate it, more so than maybe play it. But, yeah, there we go. So a futuristic sports game with over-the-top characters and some nice visual effects like the little rose scroll there. And the zoom, because, you know, this hardware does do zooming. You probably know the hardware type better for things like the Outfoxes that makes really heavy use of the zooming, but it's used to good effect here, very subtle. And here we go, here's a profile of one of the characters. It's your typical Namco high quality presentation, isn't it? So let's go, and there you go, rotating, zooming background. What are the inputs? 3 buttons. So, got some lyrics, vocals in the background. So I'm guessing, yeah, quickly tap both buttons to run. So there you go, it's a button masher. Can I tap it at the slow speed, please? Or, you know, maybe I should have found a cheat first. So this is where I don't qualify. I was trying to play the Guinness Strength and Skill, I think it's called, outside of Japan. And I couldn't get past half the events on that. So yeah, over the top, look at the special effects, and I think I lost. But did I still qualify? I still qualified even though I lost. But I think Mach breakers, keyboard breakers, take your pick. Movies. Any particular favourites you've come across while you've been watching them, or looking at new ones, Zach, or just ones you've watched before? I mean, I'm not a big movie person myself, but you know, I can understand it is something people would do during this time, or catch up with old TV shows. You know, all the ones that you never got round to watching. So what we're doing, left and right. So this is basically a truck pull type event, isn't it? But with a big monster. How does hardware do zooming if it's a bank of dedicated memory? I'm not sure I quite understand the question. So this is a timing thing, is it? Yeah. Okay. Oh dear, my timing's not. I mean, most zoom hardware just works by pulling from a different location. It's hard to describe. You've usually got, as well as, you know, you don't increase by 1 pixel with each, every time you move across the screen, you increase by more than 1 to do zoom, and then you also increase by the Y coordinate to do rotation. So most zooming things will have sort of an X per X increment, a Y per X increment, and all that stuff, and it just changes where it gets the data from in memory. It's a very primitive explanation that doesn't really make sense. Oh dear, I got stomped on. But yeah, this does seem quite tough. I'm only on the second event. I mean, it's really well presented. You know, you can't deny that. It tells you it'll be easier if you repeat it, which is what most of these do. Quickly tap both buttons. So it's another run one and crush the ice by kicking it. Okay. So it's like hurdles but with ice blocks. Alright. Okay. Yeah, fairly well-known ones then. Okay, I failed again. Oh, the original Beauty and the Beast, or the remake. I've not seen the remake. Anyway, Mac Breakers. Yeah, if you want to hear me bashing more keyboard, I could keep playing it, but I don't really want to bash the keyboard much more. So let's move on from Mac Breakers. Now, Data East Cassette, Mission X. No, or Deco Cassette. They weren't using the Data East name at this point. They were using Deco, weren't they? Yeah, I saw a lot. I've not seen a lot of the Disney movies since I was a kid. The classic ones. I know. I think I watched Snow White a couple of years ago. They always seemed a lot longer when you were a kid. Now you watch them, it's like it starts and it's over really quickly. Same with a lot of the cartoons. So this is a shooter with height control, by the looks of it. So it's not quite just serious, and you appear to have just a bomb. Okay. Fast, very fast scroll. Actually, the lower you go, I think the faster it scrolls. Okay. This isn't one of the cassette games I've really spent any time with before, which is why it's sort of ended up on this stream rather than an earlier stream, because I'm generally unfamiliar with it. Do I land? Yeah, I land. Okay. And then I take off again. There we go. Yeah, I've got external drives full of most of my CDs and everything else backed up to FLAC, so that's quite a lot of content too. But I do. It's much better to have the music you want locally, because you're not relying on any servers or things that could get taken down. I've known people to get burned by that before on things like Spotify, where they've got a favourite song or favourite album or favourite version of something, and it gets replaced with like a remastered version of something, and suddenly it's not the same at all. They've changed bits of it, or it's just gone completely because it's just been removed from the service. So yeah, having it external somewhere to stream from is always a better solution, I think. Can I land on that? No. Okay, it's fast, this, but it doesn't seem overly challenging yet. I mean, there's nothing shooting at me. But again, like I've said before, I think Data East used the cassette system to experiment with ideas as much as anything. And you've got to remember, it came out really early on. Now things are firing at me. Now it gets tricky. Oh, it's getting dark as well. Change of time. Oh, now yeah, things are becoming more difficult to see. Fair enough. Can't land on this runway. That's a road. Now I can fire too instead of bomb. Okay, the game mixes it up a bit then. Yeah, flags do take up a lot of space, but it was kind of one of those things where it's like, I want to do it once and then not have to do it again. Yeah, I mean, Mach 3 isn't bad. Those ones are really difficult to see. I had no time to react there. But I know that sometimes the Data East cassette colours are a little bit ugly, but we have confirmed how the palette hardware works and how the colours work, so I think that's just the colours they chose. And yeah, if I'm doing stuff with like a portable device, yeah, I'll pick MP3. You know, I've usually got a FooBar 2000 set up with the convert to stuff, and I can just convert whatever FLAC I want to MP3 to take with me if I want to go somewhere, which tends to be what I do if I've not got, you know, if it's the stuff I've not got stored on my other devices. But, yeah, it's very easy to have a huge music collection when it's MP3, because they are tiny, really. It's a bit like, you know, these old games. Every Spectrum game and Amstrad game is probably less than 2 gig in total. And that's like more games than you can possibly play in a lifetime if you actually want to play them properly. Although most of them probably aren't worth playing. This is okay. I think it takes too long to get difficult. I mean, I'm doing badly now because of lack of concentration. So yeah, Mission X. Yeah, it's fire along. I like the use of speed. I think Data East did better shooters, even early ones. I think B-Wings is probably a better shooter, and that had, I think, height control, didn't it? So it's probably an idea that Data East were experimenting with back then. Yeah, that's enough to keep you going, I think, for a while. The thing is, even with 4 weeks of music, you end up listening to the same things over and over again. That's what I tend to find. It's like, these are my favourites. I might have enough music to last several years, but I'll just listen to the same things. But I think that's what most people do, isn't it? Right, okay. So let's have a look at Do Run Run. Technically, it doesn't say Mr. Do, but it's a Mr. Do game. So I'm counting it under the M series here, because we had to look at the other Mr. Do games. So I'm just going to pause and move this window slightly. And yeah, cable channels, say 99 of them, most of them are rubbish, or just not even any, no channel broadcasting on them. Oh yeah, there's plenty of I shouldn't like that, but would do music. No, I think everybody's got things like that in their collections. So, Do Run Run. It's one of those draw outline type games. Again, this is an idea that other companies had done at the time. You've got Data East had done Disco #1, where you draw outlines around stuff. Namco had Libble Rabble, where you're doing outlines, although that's a twin stick type game. But this is Mr. Do's draw outline type game. And it's also got those you can crush things with. It's a decent little game, to be fair. Probably not got much at all to do with Mr. Do apart from the character and the fact that you're using the ball. But gameplay wise, it's very distant. Obviously, right, Steely Dan. See, I don't listen to much in the way of gaming music. I like gaming music when I'm playing games, but it's not music I listen to outside of games. Although, you know, I do like some soundtracks. You know, I think that there were some fantastic soundtracks like that. What was the PlayStation 3 generation RPG? Nier, N-I-E-R. That's got a really good soundtrack. One of my favourite of the generation. The game is okay. It's got its issues, but I think it's a bit underrated. I think the sequel seemed more popular on the newer system. This is a fun game, but it's one you have to concentrate on. I'm doing more talking and less concentrating. Now I also put this on because there's a bit of trivia for after I've played this. But yeah, you circle things and you circle them again, and when you circle the dots they turn into cherries. When you circle the cherries they turn into these. You know, this is the scoring mechanic they've got for bumping up your score. But, I do need to clear the levels at some point, don't I? Which means, oh dear. Come on. I've got you. There we go. Hi Master Ninja, how are you doing? Yes, that is true. Ambient music tends to be good for working to, so game soundtracks, yeah, in that sense, they probably are better working music than something you're going to get distracted by trying to understand the deeper meaning of and then realise you're not doing your work. Splat. I mean, I was watching Zypho play that NES demake of the Pac-Man game last night, and that's got a fantastic sort of soundtrack for a game, I think. That's really puts you in the mood, and high energy soundtrack, that one. But that's less ambient. That is very in your face. Well, the whole game is in your face in that case. I did actually try running that in MAME the other earlier today. In fact, it does actually run. Seems to run okay actually. The background's a bit grey rather than black, but NES emulation is a bit questionable at times. Now, you've noticed there are different layers, there different heights on this, which slow you down when you're going up and down them. They also, they stop your ball moving. So there's quite a lot of detail in the game and how it works. And obviously those things roll down the hills. I'm not really discussing the game at the moment, I'm just trying to talk to people. Pardon me. Now, I'm not sure the music to this game fits. The music to this game actually reminds me maybe more of a computer soundtrack than, one of the 8-bit computer soundtracks in an arcade game soundtrack. I'm slightly unconvinced by it. But, I mean, I like computer soundtracks. They're just different to what you expect in an arcade game, if that makes sense. And it doesn't seem to fit the theme, from what I can... My general feeling is on the subject anyway. Yeah, they say I did mention the sound repair on things like Rebekov and Bad Dudes in the new release, which I mentioned at the start of the stream. And sound repair in quite a few Mega Drive games as a result too. Now, so this is Do Run Run, Mr. Do game. It's probably more Mr. Do than Do's Wild Ride. That still really should probably just have been released as Jump Coaster as it was originally going to be, unless the Jump Coaster version exists and it just isn't dumped yet. Is it Jump Coaster or is Jump Coaster something? I can't remember. No, not Jump Coaster, is it? Jump Coaster is a different game. The Mr. Do's Wild Ride was going to be released as something else. Spy. I've not really played much Spyro since the PlayStation 1 days. I did love them back in the day. I've played the PS4 one a little bit. I've got it over there somewhere, although it's one my brother bought, so not one I bought myself and played. I played a little bit of it, and it seems like a good remake of it. Does fix quite a few of the things that don't seem quite up to date with the game these days. I keep forgetting you can't throw the ball there. Anyway, this was Do Run Run. Now, for some reason, there's a clone of this, Super Perrier, for Japan. This was released several years after. Look, this is 87. Whereas the original Do Run Run is 84. So this version of the game is 3 years after Do Run Run. Unless this is a hack set with the wrong copyright date, but this seems like a later game, like they reissued it and they rethemed it. I mean, look, it's got different graphics. I'm not sure this should be considered a clone. To me, this is a sequel of sorts, a semi-sequel. It's not a clone. It might play very similar, but they've redone the graphics. It's new animations. It's and it's 3 years later. So I think this should be treated as a parent. I know the basic gameplay is the same, but you know, if you look at things like Street Fighter Championship Edition, it's considered a different game. No, it's okay, Gangrel. No worries. I mean, I'm happy for you to chat and people in the stream to chat. I'm just playing these games, and I'm always glad to see people chatting. In fact, and I'll read some of it. And yeah, Orca Soul. This is probably the last of the M streams for March. I might just do another random one every now and again. 120% on the original and the remaster. That's some dedication to Spyro. Yeah, so yeah, I'm tempted to suggest this becomes its own parent set, because to me this isn't a clone of Do Run Run in the the modern MAME sense, where it's really just an alternate release of the same thing. This is considered a new game as far as Universal go, I think, with a later date and everything redone. I don't know if the original Do Run Run didn't get a Japanese release, so they just did all this to it later, because this doesn't even have Mr. Do in the name at all. I don't know if there are any notable gameplay differences too. But it's just one of those things I noticed when I was looking at the M games and the Mr. Do games. It's like, well, let's have a look at the clone. And then I see the clone is, well, very different. April. I think I said for April I might Go Coaster. That was the one, not Jump Coaster. Jump Coaster is a different game. Thank you, main fan. But yeah, I'd like to see that version turn up, but it's possible that's just a prototype version that's never going to turn up. I don't know anybody who owns a Go Coaster, not even within the the Japanese scene. So I don't know. But, yeah. So yeah, I do enjoy this one. I just don't play it very often. I like the way they've done the height thing on the maps. I mean, Fusion's definitely not the best Mega Drive emulator at this point. There are more Cycle Exact ones. I think things like Blastem tried to go for Cycle Exact, although I'm not sure they emulate things like the 32X. MAME's Mega Drive is definitely not the best. It's good for most cases. Most games run. But it's not best in class. It was pretty good. So when I wrote the code for it, about 15 years ago. But there's been research in the field since that I've never incorporated. So it could do with a rewrite, really. It doesn't really run all the 32X stuff either. It runs some of it. So maybe 32X is still stuck with Fusion, unfortunately, because Fusion barely works on Windows 10 or anything modern. It's that old. You have to get hacked versions and things like that, otherwise it has serious issues. But yeah, so off the top of my head, I don't know what the current most Cycle Exact one is. I know things like Blastem were going for that, but beyond that, I don't really know. So I mean, I just use MAME for most of my use, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. There are one or two I know don't work in MAME. Fatal Rewind Killing Game Show thing doesn't run in MAME, which is annoying because I like that one, but it seems very timing sensitive. Anyway, so yeah, that was the clone, or so-called clone, of Do Run Run. Superior, which to me doesn't feel like a clone. Let's go with something. Let's go with Cinematronics. Mayhhem 2002. I'm not going to play this one for long because I tried to play it earlier and didn't like it. I'll say that much about it. It's a future sports game, except it's not much fun. You get the ball, you've got a left punch and a right punch button, and then you throw the ball into there, and the computer's far better at this than I am. Maybe this is fun with 2 players, but you know, well, I've got to throw it into that end goal, so yeah. And I missed. And then the computer will get the ball and actually throw it in. Because the computer is basically... I was going to say the computer's perfect. The computer was not perfect that time. But what? It's if you want to a game where you've got punching mechanics mixed with sports, I think there are better options. I mean... Give me an NHL game or even Road Rash. Although, is that sports? But this is the entire game. This is the whole game. Yeah, it's just this, and the controls are slow. You have to turn around. Retro Arch is very, very rarely the best option. The standalones are always far better. I would not recommend Retro Arch unless you've got no other option. It's terrible, to be honest. Not as terrible as this game, but terrible. Right. I mean, I don't know how this ever got past location testing. Because did people play this and go, I love playing this, please release? It's like a bad version of... Speedball's got scrolling and teams, and this is... what? More roller derby combined with really inaccurate throwing. It's not even an analog game. It might make sense if it had analog controls, but this is a joystick-driven game. Just wait until the clock runs down. I actually scored in the last second. Yeah. Oh, there we go. But yeah, it is only 2 players. I mean, Cinematronics, Leland. I mean, Leland are better known for Super Off-Road, which is kind of one of the only things they got right, I feel. Yeah, Mayhem 2002. Yeah, I don't think that's worth playing. Mega Man 2, the Power Fighters. I think I only looked at Mega Man 1 before. So, why not look at Mega Man 2? Again, this is a far better game. It's one of the Capcom's classic CPS2 games, really, isn't it? Taking the Mega Man series and putting it as an arcade game by stripping it down to just the boss fights. So we'll let the intro play a little bit. We lived happily until Mega Man. That's what it said. Volume's a little bit quiet, maybe. But. Capcom did know how to make a fancy intro, didn't they? With lots of colours and things, effects to show the characters off. So there we go. Mega Man 2, The Power Fighters. 2 coins. Greedy game. Obviously we've got a selection of characters this time. Hey Lee, how you doing? Thank you for joining. So has anybody else checked out any of the new stuff in the new release yet? Or are you still... I mean, I know Main Fan was saying he's downloading the ROMs for it. I don't have any experience with the 3DS. Does it not have compatibility anyway? Or is it one of those cases where the only compatibility is, you know, digital downloads? Which is never a great way to do backwards compatibility, if you ask me. Q sound is got this spatial set. It's a spatial type thing. It's gives better sound positioning, I think, is the general idea of it. It's a bit like the is it Dolby Digital type stuff. Meant to give richer sounds, better sense of position. You know, your echoey, reverby stuff. It does have a pleasant sound to it, I find. I mean, it's essentially, it's just it's a sample playback chip with effects, really. But, I don't know. Obviously, Capcom liked it and paid good money to use it, and wanted to broadcast that they'd used it. And from what I heard, some of the Saturn ports went to great lengths to try and reproduce the Q sound using the Saturn hardware. But yeah, it's difficult to always know what is a case of good sound design. I mean, what good sound hardware and good sound design. And then that's what we said before. Technically, you know, this CPS2 hardware is nothing special. There's far more capable platforms out there, but Capcom always managed to make it look really good. You can't do blending or anything. It's not. Say it's not got the most advanced effects. It's nothing like, say, Taito F3, which is just ridiculous number of effects it can do. But then the Taito F3 games never end up looking as good. I think that comes down to a lot of the art and it's good art. It's not. It's difficult for me to say. I've not tried the Mister. I know people who have, and you know, it seems pretty impressive. I like what they're doing in terms of you know, promoting research into the hardware so that things are documented at a better level, which if they're going to do a good core rather than a bad core, you need to do. Because, I mean, there's some terrible Mister cores, like the Donkey Kong one, where they just really seem to have implemented a really old version of MAME in the core. But then there's other ones where they've done extensive hardware research, which has pushed the field forward a bit. So, I'm not even playing this game properly, but you get the idea. Yeah, it's not too bad. I mean, you do, like any Mega Man game, you get the weapons from each of the bosses, of course. So choosing the order you do things in is important. I've not got the strategy for doing that, which is why most of what you're seeing is just me jumping over, attack, jump over, attack. So, I mean, I think it's not meant to be console Mega Man game hard, is it? Because those are notoriously difficult. But, those are all about learning the whole game. I think in an arcade environment that wouldn't have worked. But, yeah. Hey man, Shovel, how you doing anyway? Yes, it's the final day of the letter M games in MAME, and MAME release day too. So yeah, let's quit that one anyway. Now you could have a look at this briefly. This was added last year. MSI's Plug and Play Mega Man 2. It's the NES game. Fantastic. With an MSI logo at the start. I think I felt... did I fight Electric Man before Cutman? Now, this is quite an infamous plug and play unit. I mean, mainly because it's missing stuff or broken stuff. I mean, I can't even remember what order I'm meant to be doing stuff in. Let's go to Metal Man. Metal Man. Now, the ready's missing. That's what people have pointed out. The ready text doesn't appear. We don't know why. It just doesn't. So, yeah, somehow they've ported a NES game to a different type of NES hardware. In this case, it's at one of the VT platforms. And they've broken it in the process. Okay. Excuse my poor play of Mega Man. I'm really bad at Mega Man and haven't played it properly before. But, as you can see, I am not playing Mega Man. But yes, this was released in 2017 as a standalone plug and play with a cheap arcade-style joystick. Just, you know, cheap plasticky, not properly micro-switched or anything for that, I don't know. And, yeah, they thought it would be okay to sell a bad version of the NES game as a full-price, single-game plug-and-play. And, yeah, it's pretty bad. I'm not going to get the extra life. Now, I am playing this for a reason, and it's not just that MAME emulates it and it begins with M, and it was added last year. But, yeah, and there are good plug and plays and there are bad plug and plays. The problem with these NSI ones is that, yeah, the source material was good. You can't deny Mega Man 2 is a good game, but why release a single game plug and play? It's just a NES. It doesn't even have HD output. This uses regular sort of AV cable output, so it looks awful on a modern TV. In fact, I think the packaging even recommends you use an original old TV. That's when the packaging isn't copy and paste in Wikipedia, which I don't think it is on this one, but on their Street Fighter 2 unit, the packaging, you know, what's on the packaging is just copy and paste from Wikipedia about Street Fighter 2. Just ridiculously lazy plug and plays. Oh dear. Can't kill those when they're back. Do whatever. When all else fails. Yeah, I think this plug and play might have the reverse jump problem, actually. I can't remember. Now we get here. Note, graphic corruption. Yep, the graphic corruption happens on the real unit. Again, they've messed it up when they converted to use whatever original math it used and used the VT hardware instead. But I assume that's what they've done. But yeah, the projectiles are broken. You see it there? It's a bit like, say, the Namco one, where the lives count in Dig Dug 2 is broken. It's like, how did this get past quality control? Did nobody go, oh, you've broken the graphics here? You know, I'm terrible at the game, but I can still play it to the point of finding out this boss has got broken graphics. No, I think I was going to say, the plan in my head at the moment for April is I'm going to look at those all killer no filler game lists. Not all filler, no killer. All killer no filler game lists. Yeah, the projectiles should be cogs or something like that, and they've messed it up. And that's not a main bug. That's just the plug and play's messed up. But yeah, I was going to look at those sort of top main game lists because a lot of people are just using those and deleting everything else, and that's kind of wrong because they're just meant as a rough guide. You know, this is some good games to get you started, and they miss so many good games. So maybe some of the ones that you've seen already on my streams, but I'm going to be looking at games maybe that aren't in those lists. At least that's my initial idea. I've got to plan that out on paper. I've got to come up with different lists for potentially different streams and see if there's, you know, the content's going to be something that I can present well. But that is, yeah, you'll be down for the all filler no killer. I think sometimes that's what these streams become, because I'm showing off a lot of the more obscure stuff. But I don't consider a lot of it filler. I genuinely enjoy a lot of the games that I come up with, or at least, you know, the ones I'm talking about saying bad things about. I always think they're worth checking out, just to form your own opinion of them, and you can still find there's fun in them, fun to be had in them. So a Neo Geo game I hadn't looked at yet, Mutation Nation. I think from a presentation point of view, this isn't too bad. Very 90s, very 90s, but you know, it's almost B-Rat Boys 90s, isn't it? A what were they thinking list. I guess in some senses, if I do the episode, one of the episodes I was planning on doing of bad sequels, like that could easily count as what were they thinking. You know, why did they put this out? It's adding nothing to the game, or it's just a disaster of a sequel. You know, what were they thinking with Spy Hunter 2? I mean, I can't say what they were thinking with Spy Hunter 2. I've tried playing it a few times. I'm not the biggest fan of the original Spy Hunter, but I can appreciate it as a good game. Spy Hunter 2? Batman Forever. The arcade Batman Forever, which is the Saturn one, is actually pretty good fun, I think. But yeah, the other versions of it are kind of bad. Streets of Rage 2 was released on Megaplay, which is technically an arcade game. You know, it's not. It takes credits and it's not just pay for time. Of course, it is basically the same as the Mega Drive version, but a little less fair because they've got the difficulty. But technically, it's a proper arcade game. Yeah, I mean, Megatech's just the Mega Drive version on a timer, but the Mega Play version is actually an arcade game. So, you know, it might not seem like one because it's really basically the same as a Mega Drive game, but it's, you know, it's an original piece of code that's been adapted and changed by Sega for arcade use. Yeah. I wasn't getting Denjin Maki vibes off it, but Denjin Maki always feels more futuristic to me. This just feels like it's stuck firmly in the 90s with mutated aliens. I mean, it's called Mutation Nation. No, I don't use integer scaling. I'm using the CRT filters. The CRT Geom Deluxe filter, in fact, is the one I'm using. At least I think I am. Let me see. Hold on. Let me just allow that comment. Manshovel got hit by the language filter. Had to just pause to approve that. But yeah, I think the problem with this game maybe is it's just a bit generic. It's well animated, well presented. You're fighting a lot of the same enemies over and over again, which is a common problem with beat-em-ups, isn't it? It's better than most of the arcade beat-em-ups Sega put out. Again, I think that's why people want to see would have preferred a proper Streets of Rage arcade game rather than just the Mega Drive version. Because when you look at some of the beat-em-ups Sega did put out, I mean, DD Crew, that's kind of bad. Obviously they put out some good ones too, the Golden Axe games. But you've got System 32, you've got like Arabian Fight, which I don't think is great. You've got the Spider-Man game with draining health mechanics. You've got I don't know. Considering Sega had Streets of Rage on their own platforms, their arcade beat-em-ups often left something to be desired. Megatech is a two-screen system, Manshovel, where the cartridges are just the Mega Drive ROM plus an extra instruction ROM that gets displayed on the instruction screen, but the actual code is 100% identical to the Mega Drive version. Although, interestingly, it's much easier to get a Megatech Tetris cartridge than the Mega Drive Tetris cartridge, even though it would be the same ROM, but it did get released on Megatech when the Mega Drive version was recalled due to legal issues. But yeah, they're not pin compatible with the Mega Drive, but they are just the Mega Drive ROMs plus an instruction ROM for the menu. Whereas the Mega Play games have the code has been modified to work with an extra Z80, which provides an overlay for some of bits. But the games properly accept credits, and you put credits and you get lives for the credits, rather than Megatech where you're buying time for each credit. I mean, I can quickly demonstrate that in a moment if you want. Although the main Megatech emulation does not lock the controls for the time as it should. But yeah, this is generic. So you've got some nice big sprites like this boss here. I don't think it's terrible. I think it's worth a playthrough once, but there are definitely better, more appealing beat-em-ups to play. It's better than Burning Fight on the Neo Geo, that's for sure. But I prefer to play something like Sengoku if I was playing a Neo Geo beat-em-up. So, Megatech versus Megaplay. So let's use Sonic as the example. This is Megatech. So you've got two screens. You've got one, which is the menu controller, which is actually a small monitor on top. They're sort of flipped in this setup. And then you've got the Mega Drive ROM running at the top. You can insert 6 cartridges. You put money in, and it buys time. So I put some coins in. I've got like 26 minutes of play time. At this point, the controls will be unlocked, and I could play Sonic for 26 minutes. After 26 minutes, the controls would be locked, and the game would reset. So it's just pay for time on Mega Drive games, really. But they had different cartridges. They had their own Megatech cartridges. Some of the Megatech games were also Master System games, strangely. So if I load the Megatech Outrun, it's actually the Master System version. It probably shouldn't be booting in Japan region, which it is, but you know. So for some reason they decided to put, say, the Master System output on here. Not the Mega Drive output. Don't know why, but you know, the Mega Drive hardware was backward compatible with the Master System, so I guess they did that. Now, on the other hand, if I load the Mega Play Sonic, it, you know, it's got the splash screen. This is in Master System mode because it's got an extra overlay chip. The Master System VDP acts as an overlay. But yeah, so let's fast forward through that, and it does that again. Master System VDP. But you can see it says insert coins on the screen, and it's got credits and insert coins down there. So it's adapted in a different way. If I insert a credit, I get to play the game with lives. Skip through the demo quickly. And also, in the case of the Sonic one, they actually added a high score table. I mean, none of the Mega Drive versions of Sonic have a high score table. But for this arcade version, and only for Sonic, they've not done this for the other games. They didn't do this for Sonic 2, but they added a high score table. So, insert a coin. And you'll see, I start with 50 seconds, because the game's been adapted so the actual in-game timer counts down. Things like 1-ups now just give you points, not actually an extra life. So the Sonic monitors just give you like 1,000 points or something. So it's much tougher, so you have to play it quickly. There are no special stages, there's no marble zone, there's no labyrinth zone. So the game has been actually adapted by Sega to be a more direct, fast-playing arcade game, with the slow parts cut out and a timer that forces you to keep moving. So that's very different to just, say, the Mega Drive ROM with an external timer on a different monitor. So yeah, that if you're talking the difference between Mega Play and Mega Tech, that's kind of it. And I'd say there is a Mega Play. I mean, Mega Play begins with M, so I'm still counting this as M games. There is a Mega Play Streets of Rage 2. So, you know, technically this is Sega's arcade version of Streets of Rage 2. It says insert coins. Again, it's booting as Japan region, which is probably wrong because I don't think Mega Play was even released in Japan. But I should probably correct that. But yeah, this is, you know, it's got insert coin flashing up in the corner. And this is an official Sega release. And obviously it is Streets of Rage 2. I don't know what gameplay changes there are in this version of Streets of Rage 2. I mean, with Sonic I know what the changes were, like the lack of marble zone. I'm assuming this has been made more difficult too, just like Sonic was. But yeah, again, these were different cartridges. The Mega Play cartridge was different to the Mega Tech cartridges. I think there were only about 10 Mega Play games, as opposed to Mega Tech where there were a lot more. But that's because the Mega Play games required a lot more work to make. They say they were properly adapted versions of the games. Now, My Hero. So let's just go with another Sega game, which I've not played yet. This is My Hero, one of their 85 System 1 or 2 games. Now, I think I'm going to call this stream about 2 hours because there are other streams I want to watch later. Plus, there's really not that much to cover that I think is worth covering. Now, I believe this one got a port to the Master System. Yeah, the timer on that Mega Play Sonic is really harsh. If you don't know where you're going, it's not. That bottle had already gone past me. The Spring Yard zone can still be quite a slow zone. So if you don't pick the right path, you can quite easily run out of time on it. Yeah, I thought it was Master System game. I seem to recall it's not that well liked on the Master System, but maybe I'm wrong there. Then again, even this arcade version is quite frustrating. A Hue card. So there's a PC Engine version too? Or are you talking about Master System card? Oh, there you punch the bottle and it takes them out for you. It doesn't play quite as well as either of those games, but yeah, I can see where you're coming from with that. I've not really played the Master System version much. See, again, the knife's gone past me, but the back of the knife kills you. The collision boxes on it leave a bit to be desired, I think. No. Ooh. Alright, yes. No. Yeah, Hue card usually I think stands for Hudson card, which is PC Engine. I don't know what the Master System cards are called. Did it actually read player 1 inputs or just react the next frame? Because most of the time when I hear reading inputs, it is just, it reacts the next frame, so it looks like it's reading it, but is actually just reacting the next frame. If you're actually directly controlling an enemy, that is really bad. You get points in this just for moving. Again, collision box there, I'm pretty sure that knife didn't hit me. Sega card. That just looks like I'd punched my other player. Yeah, your eyes do bounce around a bit, don't they? I kind of think this music belongs more in Tetris than in this game. It kind of makes me think I'm playing a puzzle game. Well, that wasn't there before. Okay. It's the same music. I think I died even more quickly. The controls are the reverse from the bottles fall more slowly. That's a plus. But the enemies look more like they're on skates the way they're sliding around. Collisions are still slightly questionable. I mean, you know, I've gone off on a tangent now, haven't I? I'm playing the Master System version of My Hero, but you know, why not? It's probably not a bad game. Probably. Yeah, I think you have to use the kick, otherwise the punches are quite slow. Kick the bottle. Well, you jump so high, you have to wait to... M can be for Master System. Well, it's still My Hero on the Master System, isn't it? Okay, that was the Master System version of My Hero. There does not appear to be a version on the PC Engine. I just checked anyway. Unless it's got the Japanese name or something. I don't really want to play this. It's Mortal Kombat 2. Another one where it actually helps to stretch the screen a little bit. Not position the screen, stretch it. It's very quiet. Up the volume. I'm not a huge fan of Mortal Kombat games because you have to remember the moves. And I don't remember the moves. I'll be Raiden. But I can't really ignore them on M streams. I did 4 on another stream. I know how to do this. And that. I can't deny they are good games, really, aren't they? They're buggy, but they're important games. The sprites are well digitized compared to so many other games that try to do this and just got it so badly wrong. And generally, they look pretty good. Palette swaps of characters aside, I still think that is incredibly lazy. I don't know what finishing it is, so you know. Hey KAC, I believe you have logged into the wrong account again. But Casper, isn't it? Hey Casper. Firewall motion low punch, it could be. So, yeah, I mean I did have this on home systems at the time. I did used to know a lot of the moves and, you know, wrote down the moves as I found them out, but that's many years ago. Melina wins. Yeah, Batman Forever. Batman Forever is not the best, is it? Have you watched? I think it's SNES Drunk did a comparison of the Mega Drive versus SNES Batman Forever. Obviously, knowing both were bad games, but I think was that the one where they're working out which is the worst game and trying to find good points about them. So, how are you doing anyway, Casper? But yeah, one frame reaction is unfair. The other thing you find with fighting games, where there seems to be one frame reactions, is the player would have to input a sequence of like 3 buttons, you know, half circle, which is always going to take at least 3 frames. Whereas the computer can just trigger that in a frame. So, this is what I think of Mortal Kombat. There are other Mortal Kombat games too. There was this one. This one was called Mortal Kombat 3. It's got more characters. There was this one too. This one was called Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. It's got even more characters. And then there was the original, which is the classic, and doesn't have as many characters. There we go, I've covered the Mortal Kombat games. Yeah, if I was to spend more time trying to play them again, I think I'd probably be into them a bit more. But if you've not invested the time in them recently, then they're just not much fun when you don't know the moves, which is the problem I've got with them at the moment. Did I already cover this one? I think I might have already covered this one, but it's still on my list. This is another bad fighter. This is Konami's Martial Champion. Again, I'm not going to play this for long. Yeah, I heard that Batman Forever used the Mortal Kombat engine. I don't know if it's true or not. I mean, I'm guessing it used one of the console versions rather than the arcade version. But, yeah. this is obviously Konami wanting to do something to compete with the likes of Street Fighter.
Marshall's champion!
So be tighty.
Oh.
I was trying to not say it like that.
Round one, fight!
This is really bad though. You know, I'd probably be better off going back and playing Mortal Kombat, because this is one of those what were they thinking type of games. It's like, Konami can do so much better than this.
TT win! Round two, fight!
It just controls so badly to this. I think even the pandas are bored in the background. Although they do seem to be enjoying waving flags, don't they? Now there are clearly some emulation issues here still, because the status bar at the bottom is mispositioned. You can see that on the title screen too. The Konami stuff is under long-term rewrite, I think I mentioned before. No amount of rewriting will fix this game though. It's not bad because it's badly emulated, it's bad because it's just a bad game. With horrible animations, horrible controls. I don't think it's as bad as Sega's Burning Rival, but that's a different level of that for another stream.
You lose.
You beat it. A victory drink is very best. Here's my enthusiasm for continuing this game.
3, 2, 1, 0.
City is no more. I congratulate you on actually wanting to play this game through, MAME fan. I've tried. I have tried, but I kind of would probably rather play Fitter Fighting, bad emulation included. And if you've never played Fitter Fighting, well, don't. Fitter Fighting is a bootleg of Art of Fighting that has been completely rewritten from scratch on terrible hardware. The sound's not emulated, the scrolling's broken in MAME, and it's awful. In fact, it's not an M game, but Fitter Fighting. Look, it's Art of Fighting, but completely bootlegged. Yeah, I should look at the sound hook on this one day. But it actually uses the same type of CPU as inside the Tato C chips. But I couldn't work out how to hook it for the sound on this. And also, I don't understand the scrolling. It's almost like the scrolling is going through some sort of protection device, or maybe something else. But yeah, don't play that. Well, you know, that's if somebody requests something, then yeah, it makes it a little more worthwhile, doesn't it? Since people keep mentioning the Fart of Fighting, yes, that will be a better name for that bootleg. This is actually quite an interesting STV game in the sense that it uses an external soundboard. I'm not going to play much of it, I'm just saying. I don't actually think this is too bad, although the emulation just slowed down really badly at the moment because there were some Saturn STV improvements, but they took a toll on performance. But actually, if you want to play a Batman Forever game, I think this one's worth playing. See, rack sound system. And it actually uses the hardware really well. It does loads of effects with the Saturn hardware. So it's kind of impressive. But yeah, we can coin it up. I'm not going to play this for long because it's not an M game. I can't pretend it is, but people were mentioning Batman Forever in the chat. And you know, look, it's fast, it's smooth, it's well animated, it's ridiculously over the top, which is what you want in an arcade game. It's got loads of colour fading effects and rainbow effects, and you know, this is actually Batman Forever without being terrible. No, I don't have a clue what I just did, but it was very impressive. So why couldn't the SNES game be like this, or the Mega Drive game be like this? STV Saturn base, yes. Sega Titan Video. It's basically very similar to Naomi in the sense that Naomi was Dreamcast, STV was Saturn based. And both home systems would fail. But yeah, this is okay. I mean, I'm not playing it very well at the moment. You know, you can say various colour effects, lots of sound effects. I don't know why they felt the need to actually use... Oh, I'm now Mini Batman. You always wanted to be Mini Batman, didn't you? Honey, I Shrunk the Batman. It froze on me a bit. I've not heard of it freezing, but wouldn't surprise me. I have seen other Saturn STV games freeze. Maybe it's just a bug in the game too. Anyway, that's not actually too bad if you want a Batman Forever game that's not terrible. But the stream is not about playing that. Okay, let's get some junk out the way. Multifish from Igrosoft is a multi-game gambling game. You can put in money, you can do this, and you can do this, and yeah. But actually, if you like gambling games, these are visually quite impressive ones. Surprisingly, they're driven by Z80. You know, there's when you consider this is all being driven by Z80, they look quite nice, but they're gambling games. Circus is an Amcoe game, also driven by Z80, but looks far less impressive. I thought I had played Mad Gear, but it is still on my list, so I'm going to probably do that now. And yeah, Batman Forever is never going to have sound on the multi-cart because it uses an external soundboard. So it literally doesn't use the Saturn sound hardware. Decathlete, I don't know why it doesn't work. I mean, it's got protection, but I worked with Peter and Morton to figure out the protection a few years ago, so the protection is fully sourced from that, I guess. Whoever did the multi-cart just not implemented it. Same as some of the Print Club games, they use the same type of protection for the printer data, although that's not fully been encrypted because we didn't have a working cartridge to test on when we were doing the work. And you have to look at the keys otherwise. And annoyingly with the Print Club ones, it's only encrypting the printer data, so it looks like they work, but if you were to try and use them on real hardware, it would fail the printing because it couldn't decrypt the graphics print. Although one or two of them do encrypt the code too. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did play this before because I mentioned that I'd much prefer the older LED Storm Rally version, whereas this is just quite generic. It's not bad, it's still a good high-paced racing game, but It's not the one the home ports to the Spectrum and Amstrad are based on, and it cuts quite a bit of content that the Laddie version had. To streamline it and make it a bit faster, I think. But this is just more like bump and jump than the other arcade game, but a bit more over the top. Whereas the older LED Storm Rally version had a bit more going on. I don't hate it. I'd just rather play the other version. I'm glad they did rename it Mad Gear in the end though, because calling it LED Storm when LED Storm was clearly quite a different game. They just left it gone. Although they do have a version that's called LED Storm. Clearly I think Capcom realised people aren't identified LED Storm as something different. So they probably changed it. Yeah, there's far less of the voice on this one. Much more talking on the older game. Mad Gear controls all the criminal activity, all the major criminal activity. The older versions of, very old versions of MAME, like sound that and forever, but I think it's been emulated for probably a good 10 years now. You jump's right, otherwise you're falling, you slime. I do like how you do these massive jumps and you jump from road to road here. There's still a lot of appeal about this game, to be fair. Compared to, if you play Last Duel as well, it feels like an earlier version of the idea, but not as refined.
But we've run out of energy.
Pardon me. I'm sure Capcom's sound developers could have done a good job with an awful lot of different chips. What next? Should I do something completely unrelated? Right. I saw Gaming Hell post this on Twitter earlier. The Cotton games all have the default high score table as Big Cotton Pants or some variation for that. Completely unrelated, but yeah, I saw that on Twitter earlier and confirmed it myself. So there you go. Hey Orca, how you doing? Let's play Mad Crasher by SNK. We've gone from one car crashing game to another. Oh, I thought this was a vertical game. It is not a vertical game, it's a horizontal game. 1984 SNK. Volume can go down a bit, can't it? Sorry, I forgot to turn the volume down after probably something else earlier. So if I've been a bit quiet over the game, sorry. I turned it up for Mortal Kombat, didn't I? Oops. Yeah, sorry, I completely forgot to turn it down after Mortal Kombat. Yeah, well, you know, do make sure to check out the main release too, because I talked about it a bit at the start of the stream. Now, one thing about the early SNK games is they always have the high score table, like this in the attract mode, complete with the congratulations, your score is in the best 5 message, which really looks out of place, because it looks like you meant to enter your name on the screen. But obviously you can't. It's just showing the high score table like that in the attract mode. And plenty of them do it. For some reason that was SNK's design at at one point. But, yeah, from a Capcom... Well, in this case you don't crash into the cars, you shoot them. So, you know, the title Mad Crasher maybe not quite so appropriate because you're not allowed to crash. But it's still a race along game. Controls aren't great. You actually have to use the diagonals to move as you'd expect. But yeah, you got the same similar jumping mechanic as the previous game, the Mad Gear. Although this is obviously a much happy World Backup Day. That is a timely reminder to everybody, I guess, to do some backups. Hey Bob, how you doing? Backups are important. I'm not talking backups, genuinely real backups. Now that was Mad Crasher. I'm still going to play the same game. It's just it was also released in Japan as Mad Crusher. Although this is clearly an earlier version because there's a slight corruption on the SNK logo, and that did happen on the PCB. Also, I'm assuming Mad Crusher is actually a typo, and they wanted to put Mad Crasher. Pardon me, which is why they changed it on the later release. But let's just play the Japanese version. It seems to play the same otherwise. I do try to keep the stream titles somewhat entertaining, so I'm glad you appreciated it. Oh, too fast. Now I can bash into things, you see. Now I've got the speed that we can bash into things. But ordinarily, don't bash into things, they kill you. What do I think of Mad Crusher, Mad Crasher? It's okay. SNK did a few of these isometric games. There's the Gladiator, not the same as the Taito game. Yes, this type of view, Zaxxon made it quite popular. But if you forget to jump here, you yeah. Except you can't bump unless you've got the power up. It will kill you. Which is why I don't think Mad Crash is really the best title for it. Because if you initially go into it thinking, oh, I'm just going to crash into things, you'll die quickly. You have to get that power up first. Don't think this one gets played very often. Again, like many early SNK games, nobody really talks about them. Once the Neo Geo came out, to a lot of people that is SNK. Anything before that doesn't count. And to be fair, a lot of the earlier stuff was very ropey. If you were to ask me, you know, based on the earlier 80s content, which developers would still be around in the 90s, SNK would not be on that list. Even just things like I said about that, like the high score table, the way it appears and the way it gets stuck in the track mode, just seems so rushed and unprofessional looking. But then, you know, the Neo Geo came along and King of Fighters came along, and everything changed. And I say they did have some good games before the Neo Geo, but they tend to be forgotten. Mechanized Attack I played the other day and fixed the bug in. I think it's a fantastic game. POW is a great game, but the early 80s stuff like this does seem very rough around the edges. Still fun. I just wouldn't have expected them to be a big success. Yeah, Ikari is one of the exceptions, wasn't it? Ikari is one of the ones that people still talk about. But then they followed that up with Victory Road, which kind of missed the point, and Ikari 3, which had much bigger sprites, but just didn't seem as much fun to me. Enduro Racer, I'm not sure I compare it to Enduro Racer myself. Enduro Racer is definitely more the motocross thing. This is more bump and jump, but only Or even Road Blasters, but without the 3D. And with jumps. Anyway. There we go. I spent more time playing this than I expected to spend playing this one. I'm trying to run for the stream. We've got about 10 minutes of the stream left. So I'm probably going to have to quit this when I die and see if there's any other must cover M games, or if they're all meaningless. I know there are one or two, but I don't know if they're worth covering. Yeah, you screwed it. Push it. Get off the road, get off the road. Don't know where this road leads. Oh. Yeah, Guerrilla War is more like a proper sequel to Akari than Victory Road was, really, isn't it? But you look at some of the other things, you've got like the shooter, the Bermuda Triangle, it's like, what's going on here? I don't know. I mean, they did have some quite innovative games. They've got their own motocross game, I think. I'm not going to play it, but yeah, I mean, SNK put out this in 8, so this is vertical. 84, they put out this one, which is sort of, this predates all your sort of Great Thousand Mile Rally drift out type things, but it's still a switching perspective racing game. I'm not going to play it because it's not an M game, but I might play it on another stream. Oh yeah, Masters Enduro race on the Master System was isometric, wasn't it? I forgot that. Yeah, I completely forgot this was an isometric game. It's one of those where the Master System version is very different. Yeah. Yeah, so I have played this before and enjoyed it. I just completely forgot. It's like the Master System. See, Air Rescue on the Master System. This is technically a port of an arcade game, but this is nothing like the arcade game. In fact, I think I prefer this version. It's still got that whole go and rescue people thing, but it's not an over-the-top 3D sprite scaler. So if you've not played Air Rescue on the Master System, yeah, go and play Air Rescue on the Master System. That's a pretty good one. But yeah, I do like it when they did the more creative ports. We looked at the Master System Pit Fighter the other day as well, and that's a very different game with the tiny sprites, and it's just more suitable to the platform than anything. Yeah, Air Rescue, but Air Rescue is a choplifter in 3D, really, isn't it? You're going along, picking everybody up, but the Master System version puts it back in 2D and basically it was more like a choplifter sequel. Okay, did I look at this one before? This one is going to be vertical. Yeah, it's going to be vertical. Mariner. This is possibly a hack of one of the Scramble or Super Cobra games, I'm not sure. It might be an original piece of code. Amenip Corp, 1981. Definitely an original tune there. Not the Beatles' Yellow Submarine at all. It's a bit quiet, isn't it? There's not much in the way of sound. There's no shooting sound effect, oddly. And of course, there are stars under the sea, which I guess are meant to be bubbles in this case. So it's quite a creative use of the Galaxian-style hardware, using an extra gradient and the stars as if they were bubbles. I do think we might be... Maybe there's a discrete analog sound for the sound effect, fire effect. Maybe it just doesn't have one. It's also got like a boss fight, and there aren't like that's a little boss. There aren't many games from 1981 with boss fights. So this might be an original piece of code, but it is very, very much inspired by Scramble and Super Cobra, if it's not borrowing any code. I'll have to check out Cobra Command for the NES. It's not one I've tried. I know Cobra Command, the arcade, because there's two Cobra Command arcades, isn't there? There's the Laserdisc version and there's the shooter version, but none of them really remind me of Choplifter, so I guess the the Master System game must be different. But this is Mariner, and it doesn't even really look like a submarine, does it? It looks like you're a farty shark with a TV aerial on or something like that. But apparently that's a submarine. But I'm going to call it Farty Shark with a TV aerial on. Because why not? Got to say something about this game. Other than it's very much like Scramble. So your bullets don't curve like Scramble, they just sort of go straight diagonal. Diagonally in a straight line. Or forward. But yeah, you get your fuel just like Scramble, where you shoot fuel to get fuel. And every now and again you get one of these bosses that is firing a missile at man. In fact, I'm sure you could probably point farm those missiles until your fuel runs out. But, okay, kill myself off time. Doesn't even play the little jingle again after the start of the game. So we'll just credit up again to get the jingle. There we go. Right. Okay, we have about 5 minutes left. I'm not going to play Midnight Landing because it's basically impossible to play. It's a flight simulator. I am not going to play Magical Speed because it's a car game. What shall I play? What shall I play? I'm going to play... And this one is horizontal. And this will be the last game because, to be honest, the other ones I'm not that interested in playing. Even if I think one of them is Miss Pac-Man. But I think that's just too common. Bongo does not begin with M. I might play Bongo on another stream though, because I do kind of like Bongo. But I can't fit Bongo into this. It's not even by an M company, it's by Jetsoft, isn't it? This is Masked Riders Club Battle Race. I'm guessing this is the theme tune to something. But, Hell Diver. Not driver, diver. You can't move once you're fired, that's odd. Dash, 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 dash. Jump, don't jump, jump, do something, or crash. I've never played this before, I don't know what I'm doing. Apparently I'm now driving through a supermarket. No, I guess this is one of those licensed games because it's Banpresto and I don't know the show it's based off, but that's just my lack of knowledge. It's quite fast. So excuse me not looking at the chat. Dash up. I thought I got the jump there. Yeah, it's based on Kamen Rider. The set name is Common Ride. I'm guessing there's probably a dip switch. I'll have to check actually. Again, we're jumping over big gaps in futuristic roads. It's Mad Gear all over again, isn't it? That's it. I'm not very good at it. I'm not very good at Mad Gear. But at least in Mad Gear I kind of know what I'm doing. In this I don't actually know what I'm doing. Apparently Orc's a thing too. I got to the goal though. Right, so is the dip switch country USA, country Japan? So if I reset it, and I've got to play the first level again. Moon Patrol was on another stream. I might throw Moon Patrol in at the end actually, anyway. Just because it's Moon Patrol. As a bonus game. Yeah, I've never seen it. I guess it wasn't popular outside of Japan, or I've just never seen it. But yeah, I guess this is now called Kamen Rider or something like that. So it's got a dip switch. Now, I don't know why there's a dip switch when it doesn't actually change the language of anything in game. All the menus were still in Japanese. Well, apparently I can hit to the sides, if I didn't know that. So there's more to this than I realised. I've got like a road rash side attack. So maybe this is actually a really in-depth game with a lot of different gameplay elements that I just don't know about. Oh no, I chose a different character, didn't I, this time? So the different characters have different attacks? Yeah, I did Moon Patrol and Horizon because they're a pair of games, really. But I might look at Moon Patrol again. The problem with Moon Patrol is it doesn't really have many good ports. A lot of the ports are really, really bad. So it's not one where I can pick up a good port and play it. There's an alternative. I think the Spectrum port didn't even get released, it was that bad. I tried to look at some others on the BBC Micro. There's some Moon Buggy game, but it was horrible. You jumped forward as much as you jumped up every time you jumped, and yeah, it didn't play well. Go away, big car. I didn't make it. Oh, what? Game over? I guess I ran out of energy. I didn't run out of time. So yeah. Non-stop back to 71. Well, there aren't that many games based on it, considering then, at least not arcade ones. I think that's the only arcade game that I know that's based on that series. Anyway. Right, so we are on 2 hours, which means I will end with Moon Patrol. Just a quick blast of Moon Patrol as a bonus. So, as always, thank you to everybody who's joined. There isn't really enough content to make this a 3-hour stream. Everything else, unless I've got a list of other console games and computer games I could have played. But I do have other streams I want to watch. Friends are streaming, so I want to go and show them a little bit of support rather than sitting here playing main games. So that kind of limits me to the 2 hours this time. I believe they will be on the Enigmatic Play channel on Twitch. I think they're streaming some modern indie games for PlayStation 4 or something like that. I don't know which one they're doing this week. Although they have done Grim Fandango remaster in recent weeks. But, yeah. So I'm sure I will see most of you on another stream, because there do seem to be some regulars here lately. Say Gangrel, Main Fan, Lee's been in a few, Bob's been in a few. I'm seeing a lot of names I recognise just on the screen without scrolling. A lot of people who've been talking earlier are people who I've seen a lot, so I'm glad to keep your attention, and we should probably be showing you things you're enjoying or something like that, maybe, or just unless you just come to see me being absolutely terrible at the games, which is definitely a thing. This is why they don't let me drive moon buggies. Also, the moon seems to be quite populated. I'm wondering if this is sort of the great escape in the moon buggy, how I robbed a bank. Am I just trying to escape the moon police? Although, you know, I don't think a big pink buggy is the best getaway car. Can you tell I don't know what the background story of Moon Patrol is? Let's pretend I just stole lots of money. And this credit's not going to go very far, is it? I needed to make it to M. I didn't make it to M, but I didn't make it to M. To count in new game, insert coin. No. I do enjoy a bit of Moon Patrol, but I think I need to concentrate a bit more. But yeah. Anyway, I will call it there. So as I said, thank you to everybody who's joined. Please do go and check out the 230 release. I know I didn't cover much of what's new in the actual stream, but I did just talk about it briefly at the start to point out a few highlights. Say the sound core replacements is a big one. Lots of improvements, lots of games with sound fix, lots of games you didn't even know had broken sound will now have fixed sound. It's a big one. So anyway, I will see you all. Say you too, Red Hot. And I will see you all next stream, where I will be having with a different theme. I'm pretty sure I know what I'm going to do, but we'll see. I might start that off in the middle of the month and do something else before then. I'm not sure yet. All right, see you, Mick. Cheers too, and hope everybody enjoys the rest of the day. Thank you.